Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you guys a crazy story time, and honestly, for you to understand this story time, you have to go watch my other video. And it's gonna be an interaction with my stalker. You guys must go watch that so you can understand this one. If you can't, I'm gonna make it easy for you guys, and I'm gonna leave the link below. It should be at the top always, with any other videos you guys need to see or you just missed out on. So before we get started, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you hit the notification bell to be notified every time I decide to put up a crazy, weird, or queer story time. So yeah, let's get back into this story time. This is probably going to be part 2, but I'm really gonna name it part 1 because it's another part that goes with it. Or I might just keep going like part 1, part 2, part 3, and that's the end of that. So first, if you guys don't know, go back another video or just check the description box when I told you guys that I had a stalker and how she became my girlfriend. In this story time, I'm gonna tell you guys on the crazy things she used to do, the kind of relationship we really had, and then yeah, I'll be done with this. No, I won't, because I got one more part. But anyways, let's get straight into this video. Like I said, if you go back to that video, this was like a strong relationship. We was together on and off for 7 years. But honestly, at this time, I guess you could say, living a double life, because at the time I was talking to someone else in the meantime, between time. But once I started talking to her, I kind of let everything go, everybody else go, and just focused on her and our relationship. So I want to say all the trouble started like the 3rd year in the relationship. Everything dwindled downhill. But the first 2 years, I must say, was great. I guess you could call them cupcake years. And majority of people call the first year the cupcake year. But to me, we had 2 years that was cupcake years, and then everything else was hell on wheels. So I'm gonna start at the 3rd year. You guys already know we met outside of school. She was my stalker, blase blase. So I want to say probably the 3rd year, a couple of months into the 3rd year, we decided to move in together. So I'll say this was like 3 years and some months. We decided to move in together, and to me, I feel like at the time I thought it was a great idea because we was always at each other's house, and I'm like, she would always leave things at my house, I would always leave things at her house. Now looking back on it, I must say, if I do get into a long term relationship, I don't want the person to move in right away. I want them to have their own house and I have my own house, unless we know where we're going in the relationship. Now, this relationship, I didn't necessarily know where I was going, but I know where I wanted to go. And this is probably a relationship I found myself more. I had plenty of time to get to love myself more, and you guys will understand why throughout this story. But as I said before we moved in, To me at the time, it felt like it was the right thing to do. But now looking back on it, I'm like, why the hell did I do that? But so at the time we both had a job, and I want to say I was working from 7 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, and she also had a job, but she was working from um I think it's from 11 to 5 or 11 to 6, one of them. And we both had jobs, and we split the bill. It was an even split. So that wasn't a big thing at the beginning. But when the months passed on, it begins to like become a problem. Because I'm the type of person, if I have to pay my bill, I feel like bills becomes a priority and your wants becomes an option, if that makes sense. Um, so I feel like water bill, light bill, any utility bill, and any grocery bills comes first, and then you go to like groceries and your phone bills, and any electronic bill you want to pay comes second. Now, I do make sure groceries are in the house at all times, just because I'm not a big fast food eater. I'm not the type of person who will just go get fast food and we just bought groceries. That's ignorant to me. So one day, for an example, one day I didn't have to work, and she did. And I'm saying I went all out. I cooked soul food because I knew she loves soul food. So I'm like, I really don't cook that much because I work all the time. So I'll, cook her favorite meal today, and then she could just eat when she get off work or whatever. So me being a fool understood, like, when you get off work you want a hot meal. I understood that. But also I understood you can't be the type of person to call home and say, hey, you cook today? And then if I tell you, yeah, you still gonna forget what I said or fuck what I said, and you still gonna bring home fast food. So just know from that point on, I'm not going out my way for you. I refuse to. So, moving along, there was kind of something that kind of irked me, because I actually took time out my day to think about you instead of thinking about myself. And that what kind of kills me, because I always made sure she had a hot meal, even though it wasn't the 5-star meal, even though it wasn't a full course meal. It was still something to put on your stomach at the end of the day. Okay? So moving along. Like I said, bills became an issue with her because I'm the type of person who likes to pay my things on time. But when I have to depend on other people to pay their half and they don't pay it on time, that kind of puts me under the weather. And I'm not saying that we split a bill in half, because we never did. I felt like if I could do water, lights, and gas and all of that, then you could do like the cable and groceries and garbage and all of that stuff. You could take care of that. I think we had like 8 bills, so she paid 4, I paid 4. But um come to find out, she really didn't pay her half on time. And honestly, I didn't really look into it. I just, when it came in the mailbox or if it came through email, I just gave it to her. I never looked at it. I never really paid attention, and that's my fault, because I depended on her. I trusted her with it. And I didn't think I have to stand over her and say, hey, you need to pay this, you need to pay that. It's going to get turned off. I never had to look into that because I felt like she was old enough, responsible enough as I thought to take care of it. So one day I came home from work. I had the light bill had came, and you guys know when the paper is red or pink, that means we gonna have you gonna be disconnected if you don't pay this on time. So if you don't pay it like yesterday, then you gonna be in the lights by midnight, type of deal. So I'm looking, and I'm like, bro, what is this? Like, what happened? So I get the bill, right? I look at the bill, and to my surprise, it says she haven't paid for the month before. Okay, let's just say that it was March, and she paid partial payment for February. So of course, when March bill come out, you're gonna have to pay February and March. So, and plus late fees, cause they don't tell you that when you pay half payment, you still have to pay a late fee. But to me, that's a given. That's something you should know. But I guess majority of people don't know that. So I text her. I actually text her and took a picture of the bill and sent it to her and says, "Tell me what's wrong with the picture." And because I'm not a type of person to actually breathe down your neck and say, "Hey, why you didn't do this? Why you didn't do this? Why you didn't do this?" Back in the day, I wasn't. Um, and honestly, now I probably won't be like that because I feel like you're grown enough to actually take care of your responsibilities. So I thought. Um, so when I sent her the picture, she looked at me. She looked at the picture and said, and she didn't say that right away. I just saw that she looked at it, and so I'm thinking to myself like, okay, I know you looked at it, but not why you're not responding. So I guess she looked at it, but she was around her manager or something. I don't know. I don't care. As long as she responded. But then she came to me and said that she didn't work those many hours and her hours got cut and her pay got cut. But I'm thinking in the back of my head, you still go to work at the same time. You get off at the same time. So how did your hours get cut unless you're not really going to work? So, she said she'll take care of it because that Friday she was getting paid. Now, um, at the time, the bill was probably every bit of probably $200 or more. So they tell me you only pay like partial of the partial payment because my light bill has never been over $100. So moving along, we still have the light bill that needs to be paid, and she haven't even made exits to pay it. Friday came. I'm not sure if she went to pay it, but I know she left the house. And we just kept going on and on and on. So Monday came. I was getting up, getting ready for work, and I noticed it was a white truck sitting in my yard. Now you guys know the light truck, you would know that truck anywhere. I promise you, you would. But this truck was not the light truck. This truck was like a regular government truck. It was white, 4-door, or maybe 3-door. I'm not sure. But and it wasn't nobody sitting in the truck. So I'm thinking to myself like, this some weird shit because it's early in the morning and you're sitting at my house. So what's going on? So I finished getting ready, and I'm like, that's crazy. Maybe it's the landlord checking the house or something. I don't know. So I continued to go on and get my stuff and walk outside. So then, while I'm walking outside, I noticed that he's picking on the side of the house, messing with the light meter. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what are you doing? Because I'm thinking maybe it's broke or maybe it can't be picked up in the system. They just trying to see what's wrong with it, I guess. I don't know, but I go to ask him like, sir, what are you doing? And then he says, oh, um, I'm out here to disconnect your lights. And I said, who lights? Not these lights, because they was paid. So he said, no, ma'am, you're $293 um, in debt with the light company. I said, in debt? He said, yeah, you haven't paid your bill since February, some date, he said. So I'm thinking to myself, either she lied or they're lying. So I unlock the door, go back in the house. Now, mind you guys, the lights are turned off at this point, and I am livid, okay? Because I've never been in a house where it didn't have lights. Even when I was younger, and my dad was the only one working, the lights never got turned off unless it was storming outside. And and I don't know what was in me, cause I had asked her, okay, did you pay the light bill? Knowing that was a stupid question to ask, because apparently she didn't, cause the lights was out. And I'm asking her, hey, have you paid the light bill? And she just played like she was hard in her sleep. So, like on Bad Girls Club, I went and got me a pot and a pan, and I went to playing drums. And she jumped up out of her sleep, and she asked what the hell or what the fuck was going on and what the fuck was wrong with me. And I'm like, did you pay the light bill? And she kept asking, so you want me about a funky ass light bill? I'm like, bruh, we're in the dark. Did you pay the bill? And she said, yeah, I took care of it, I think. What the fuck you mean you think? Did you pay it or not? And so she got up, looked in her bag, and noticed that she didn't even go by the light bill place. So I said, so being the naive, stupid me, I was like, okay, cool, give it to me and I'll take it up there. So, so I had took the bill up there, and the woman said it's gonna be $293 plus a $50 or $75 connection fee. At the time, it was kind of cheap to get your lights back on, but now to me it seems like it went up way more. So that what happened? I paid the connection fee, which I feel like I should have got that back from her, because that's her responsibility. But also, it was my house, and I should never depended on her to like actually go up there and take care of it. So moving along. I took the day off just so I can handle that situation. Just to come to find out that really she behind on every bill that we have. So I'm thinking to myself, bro, where is your money going? So apparently she thought it was okay to go out and have drinks with the coworkers. She thought it was okay to take trips to Vegas with the coworkers. She thought it was okay to even um go party with the coworkers. So to me, it's like she was spending all her money on coworkers. She was spending all her money on gambling. She was spending every dime she had just to put back into her car. So the bills and all of that was not in her responsibility. They were just an option for her. And I guess because she thought and she knew that I'm not the type to not pay my bills, so they was gonna get paid regardless. So, and I grew out of that because I want to say the 4th year in our relationship, and I know the 3rd year when we moved in together is like we argue all the time about simple stuff. What we're going to cook, who's gonna clean up. We argue about everything all the time, and that could be draining on someone. And I must say, if I didn't say it in my last video, when I was with this girl, this is when I noticed my depression kicking in. This is when I first found out I was suffering from depression. Actually went to the doctor and found out that I was suffering from depression. And I knew something had to give, or I was gonna die with this girl. Like, it was crazy. So moving along, I want to say the 4th year, it was my birthday, right? And no, it was her birthday. So everything was going great. I had planned this big extravagant birthday surprise for her. We was gonna get away and all of that stuff, right? So I thought. And I felt like it was something that we should do because we've been around each other forever, and we was doing a whole lot of arguing, and we was doing a whole lot of fussing. So I thought it would be a great idea to just get away and go somewhere else where we wouldn't have to worry about the issues. So I thought, but apparently that was a bad idea because apparently she had a lot of people showing up at the house, and she wanted to have a party at the house. Now, mind you guys, I done paid for this little vacation. I done got the hotel. I done got the plane tickets. And everything is taken care of. All we have to do was leave on time. So then when she came home, a lot of people started pulling up behind her. And I'm like, what's going on? So then that's when she tell me, oh, I'm just having a get together for my birthday since you didn't think about it. And I'm like, bruh, I did think about it. We have a trip to go on in a matter of hours, and you are planning a get together for yourself. That's crazy. The fact that you didn't even ask and see if I had anything planned. And then it had to be crazy because I woke up, cooked breakfast. I woke up extra early to cook breakfast and just to tell her happy birthday and all of that stuff to make sure she felt like she was special on her day. So I'm not sure why she thought I forgot or why I didn't have anything else planned, because I always have something crazy planned for her birthday. I don't care if it's like a picnic in the house or anything. I always have something planned. So that would kind of threw me for a loop. She actually said she didn't want to go. And so being this stupid me, I canceled everything. But the only thing I didn't cancel was the hotel, and I couldn't because they still was going to charge me for a day. So they gave me half of my money back, but they still took out for that day because we didn't go. And it was kind of crazy because when it came to my tickets, the plane tickets, they were refundable, but they still took out, I think, they still took out $30 for cancellation fee or late cancellation fee or something like that. So all in all, I lost over $100 on her birthday, just because she didn't want to go anymore, which I still like. That's the reason why I think to this day I hesitate to do things for people on their birthday, because I never know what they had planned. And that's crazy because that means she messed up that situation for me, for everybody else. So I don't know. But I'm working through that situation to get it handled and not think that everybody is the same. Moving along. We was I want to say going on fourth, fifth. No, the fourth year was kind of easy selling. I think that was the only incident that we had. So I want to say 56 is like when I was tested. 56 is when I like said I quit, because this is when the not trusting part came in. I want to tell you guys this because it's going to come. It's going to. You guys are going to understand why the light bill was so late. Okay, why every other bill was so late. So I want to say a couple of months into the fifth year, we started arguing more, and it started to get to the point to where it was starting to get physical. And when I mean physical, we was actually fighting like cats and dogs, literally fighting. Um, and this is when I turned to the streets. This is when I gave no fucks about anything, not even her. And at the time I still had my job, but yet I was in the streets with all my people, with the crew. And I'm gonna call them the crew because I still call them the crew to this day. We are still cool to this day. Um, but move along. Like I said, we was fighting like drastically, and I hated it, but I felt like that's the only way to get to her. That's the only way to actually get her to listen. So move it along. I want to say uh probably late in the fifth year when I found out she haven't been to work in 2 years. Okay, that's the reason why the bills were slow. That's the reason why she couldn't pay it on time when she needed to. And this is when I found out she was in the streets. Like, she was actually selling drugs. This is when I found out. Um, Now, mind you guys, when I was 15, I did go into the streets, but I wasn't in the streets heavy until I started fooling with this chick. Now, when I started fooling her, that's when I decided to go to the streets heavy. And that's when I decided that if I want something done, if I want something paid, I have to pay it myself. So this is when I found out she haven't been to work for 2 years. Honestly, I haven't seen her. I haven't seen her change up to where she even sits down and looks for a job. Um, and I'm thinking to myself, that's crazy. So what, you just didn't want to look? She didn't even tell me. So in the back of my head, I'm thinking to myself, how are you paying the bills? What do you do every day around the same time you're supposed to be at work, but you're not at work? Which is crazy to me because you took every day just to get up at the same time, come home at the same time. That's like, to me, that's like overworking yourself because you're trying to keep up a lot. You're not going to work. So what are you doing when you're not at work? Come to find out, she's been in the streets. She's still gambling. And I'm thinking at this time, gambling is becoming a bad habit for her because when you're not paying your bill, it's because all your money is going on gambling. And that's just it. So every time I ask her why she's not working, why she's not looking for work, where your money going, what you do every day at the same time, it became us being physical with each other. And I'm not talking about sexual or physical. I'm talking about putting hands on each other physical. Now, I don't condone violence, but at the same time, I'm not going to stoop down to your level of violence and I'm not going to fight back. I refuse to, okay? I'm not going to sit there and let somebody beat on me just because it's violence. I refuse to. So the fifth year for me was like one of those years where you have to like we either gonna get it together or we just gonna leave each other alone. So moving along, we ended up breaking up around my birthday, and to me that was like one of those days where I didn't care because it was my day and I wasn't gonna let you mess that up. So moving along, she was crying and all that stuff, but I'm like, what was those tears when we was actually in a relationship? When we had broke up, she was actually calling. She'll actually start back with her stalking ways. She'll call me every day, text me back to back to back to back to back. And it got to the point to where I'm like, okay, I'm changing my number. I'm done, completely done. Um, and then it got to the point to where she just started emailing me back to back to back. So one day I thought to actually end this relationship, we need to meet, sit down, and I need to have closure. Now, mind you guys, if you want to have closure, just forgive that person for what they did and keep it moving. I know that now. So we actually did have a story time. I mean, not a story time. We actually did have a sit down, and it was crazy. We actually sit down, communicated, and everything. And everything was. It was good. I must say it was good. So moving along. After the sit down we had with each other, I thought it was going to be completely over, but this is when I started going to work, coming home, had flowers on the porch, cards on the porch, letters on the porch, and I'm like, where was this person in the relationship? If you're gonna stalk me to get me, I feel like you have to keep stalking me. You get what I'm saying? Like, whatever effort you put in to get me, keep up that effort, because it's nothing for you to lose that person. Just because you slacked up. And she felt like just because she had me, she didn't have to do what she had to do to keep me. And I felt like she gave up, she stopped caring, because she didn't have to chase me anymore, because I was actually living with her, which is crazy to me. But now I understand why people say you have to keep up what you did at the beginning, because it's not so simple to like stay in a relationship with somebody. Like I said, their relationship was very toxic. We was abusive to each other. It was not one sided. Um, and I feel like we both started it on both sides. Um, and it was crazy. So our 5th year, a couple of months in the 5th year, excuse me, we broke up. And we broke up for like a couple of months, I want to say. Yeah, it was a couple of months we had broke up. So moving along. I want to say we was reaching the 6th year mark. Now at this time we wasn't really broken up to not fuck with each other anymore. We was broken up to actually work on ourselves a little bit, know what we want in a relationship, then come back together and just say, okay, this is what we need to do, this is what needs to happen, and all of that stuff. So we decided to get back together. Okay, it was a mutual understanding what we need to do in a relationship and all of this. Now at the time she did get her a job during the breakup, so I'm thinking to myself, that's good. So I never understood why she lost the job until like the 7th year, the end of our relationship. That's when I found out she was actually gambling a lot. She wasn't going to work on time. And when she was at work, she really wasn't at work, because she always was gambling or betting on something. So, the 6th year was one of those years where we started cheating on each other. It was like a tick for tat type of deal. Like, she cheated on me because she heard I was cheating on her, and she never really asked any. She never really came to me and asked me like, "Are you cheating on me?" It's like she never really trusted me that much in the first place. But and she soon found out that I never cheated on her, and that it was all a rumor. So I guess she started feeling bad, and she started straightening up. But then by the time I found out she cheated on me, I was like, fuck this relationship, fuck you. I'm going to cheat on you. And I know that is the worst thing to ever do to somebody now. And it was the worst thing to do back then, but honestly, I must say I really didn't care. At the time, I just wanted to make her feel like I felt when she cheated on me. So, I want to say around this year also is when she leaked my pictures. Now, that is going to be part 3 of this story. But moving on to year 7, it ended real quick. Like, it ended super quick. We were still in the 7th year, I must say. And we was working on 8, but it was like 7 years and probably a month, or maybe 2 months. And I know we ended that relationship real quick. It was crazy how we ended. Just know it's like we both just like disappeared. Like, it was just crazy. But the moral of this story is never depend on someone if you can't depend on yourself. Never depend on someone if you can't trust them fully. I know sometimes it get hard to where you're like, single life sucks. But you have to look at it. Single life really don't sucks until you find out, or until you get in a relationship and you find out how great single life really is when you have to be with a fucked up individual. I'm just saying. But anyways, I just want to say their relationship was toxic. Their relationship taught me a lot of things. Their relationship kind of messed up a few things for a lot of people. But it was okay because it was a lesson learned, a lesson well learned. And I know I took a lot of the things that happened in their relationship. I took it into other relationships, and people tend to notice that, but you have to get someone who understands where you're coming from to actually know what you've been through, and they'll know how to handle you. But anyways, I digress. That's my story of when I had my stalker girlfriend, and why we actually broke up was because we didn't trust each other. We wasn't loyal to each other. We always played tick for tat. It was very abusive on both ends, and I don't condone abuse. But overall, that relationship was great because it taught me a lot, and that's all I can be happy for. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great morning, a great night whenever you are watching this. And also stay tuned for part 3, because you want to know why she actually leaked my videos and my pictures. So, yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Before you leave, make sure if you want to be a stalker also, you can stalk me on my, all my social medias. Look in the description box. Follow every blue link you see, because they will take you to paradise. So anyways, see you guys in my next video. See you guys in part 3. And make sure you bring your popcorn or whatever you need for part 3, because it's going to be juicy. Bye, guys.